My name is Phil Rees. I've spent much of my career meeting men and women called terrorists in the West. It used to be said that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. But after 9/11, that seemed to change.
Either you are with us, or you are with the terrorists.
Western politicians list dozens of terrorist organizations. I'll be breaking bread with those labeled terrorists by the West and ask, when does a man have the right to fight without being called a terrorist? An island shattered by a quarter of a century of conflict. I travel to the front line of what the Sri Lankan government calls its war on terror.
There. Terrorism, whether in Sri Lanka or in Washington or in London or somewhere else, is terrorism.
The president says he's fighting a just war against the world's most brutal terrorist organization, the Tamil Tigers. They say they are fighting for the freedom of Sri Lanka's Tamils and that the real source of the terror is the state itself.
The journalists can't speak, they can't write, the parliamentarians can't open their mouth, anybody can arrest at any time. So what sort of situation we are having when we are talking about terrorism? There's a pure state terrorism going on.
I discover how the use and abuse of the word terrorism is influencing an ethnic conflict that has left at least 70,000 dead. I've come to an event over 8,000 kilometers from Sri Lanka in London. Tamils living in Britain have gathered to celebrate the sacrifice of men and women they regard as national heroes, fighters from the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, or LTTE, who have lost their lives in battle. The LTTE is popularly known as the Tamil Tigers. They believe they must fight for a separate Tamil homeland within the island of Sri Lanka. The Tamils are mostly Hindu and make up about 15% of the population of Sri Lanka. Many claim they are the victims of discrimination and say the government tries to curb their language and culture. Communal tensions exploded in 1983. Nearly 1,000 Tamils were murdered and tens of thousands lost their homes. The riots were triggered by the killing of 13 Sri Lankan soldiers by the recently formed Tamil Tigers. While most in this hall support the LTTE, it is illegal to admit that in Britain. They are not allowed to donate money, and British law requires that the faces of dead guerrillas are blacked out. Why? Because the Tamil Tigers are listed as a terrorist organization in more than 20 countries, including the UK.
All of a sudden, now without any sort of clarity, they branded all the organization, whoever they are fighting for freedom or whatever it may be, they branded they are terrorists.
The Sri Lankan government has adopted the same language to describe its conflict with the Tamil Tigers that the West has used since 9/11 for its war on terror. George Bush said in 2001, you're either with us or with the terrorists. Do you think that's a sentiment that can be applied to the people of Sri Lanka?
It applies to Sri Lanka too. I mean, it can't be applied to one country and not applying to the other country.
I'm going back to Sri Lanka to find out how the West's war on terror is affecting this ethnic conflict, one that I have reported on for many years. The main ethnic group in Sri Lanka are the Sinhalese. They are mostly Buddhist and make up more than 70% of the population. After independence from British rule, the Sinhalese gave a greater emphasis to their culture. Many are also suspicious of the links that Sri Lanka's Tamils have with a large Tamil population in nearby India. There have been thousands of civilian deaths from bombs planted by the Tamil Tigers. They were the first modern insurgency to use suicide bombers. Their strikes have been so effective that their methods have been copied by militants elsewhere. The Tigers want an independent state called Tamil Eelam in districts where Tamils have traditional roots. For a generation, they've controlled territory in these areas, but recent defeats have driven them into the jungles around Mullaitivu. I went to Mannar, a Tamil-dominated province, to discover what's happened on the battlefield. The government has spent billions of dollars to strengthen its army in order to crush the Tigers and reclaim territory. I joined one of their units as it moved north.